One of my favorite, if not my favorite actor, at least my favorite comedian, is Jim Carrey. I love Jim Carrey. I've loved Jim Carrey since I was a young kid. I really idolized the man when I was a little bit older in my teen years, when I was doing drama acting stuff in high school. I really channeled my inner Jim Carrey. No one in the entertainment business has made me laugh more than Jim Carrey. And as we all know, after Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Jim Carrey kind of came out and said that he's retired. He's done. He's done a lot for Hollywood. He's given us a lot of entertainment, which he totally has. And now he's ready to move on and retire. Well, imagine my shock then when not just one, but two separate stories came out saying that Jim Carrey is going to be returning to two iconic roles that he played, Dumb and Dumber's Lloyd Christmas and the Grinch. Now, here's the thing. Now, these are rumors, and these are heavy rumors. Now, I've looked into these sources. There's really no sources there. If there was more news, normally we wouldn't cover something like this. But I did find it kind of interesting. There was a couple things I found interesting about this. So let's just explore this first, shall we? Now let's talk about the possibilities of these happening. Now, the first one we're going to talk about is the Grinch. All right, so this comes to us. This is a site called Gigantic Robot. All right. And he says he has an exclusive. Jim Carrey is returning for the Grinch 2. Now, let's see what he has to say in his article. Let's see exactly how backed up this is, right? So he goes on to say, Jim Carrey is returning to Universal Pictures for the Grinch 2, once again playing Dr. Seuss's most famous ill-tempered creation. According to our trusted and proven sources, the Sonic the Hedgehog actor is coming back as the character after an absence of 20 years, which seems par for the case for the star. Although what exactly Jim Carrey might be stealing this time in The Grinch 2 is currently uncertain. It continues his recent willingness to appear in sequels. Sorry, I got a little mixed up there. So let's talk about this for a second. Let's just talk about the possibility of Jim Carrey coming back for The Grinch 2. I don't buy it. Like I don't think this story has any credibility to it. I don't think this story has anything to stand on. I do not buy this story 1 ounce, 1 bit. And I'll tell you why. There's a couple reasons why I don't buy this story at all. Number one, Jim Carrey hated doing the Grinch. Now, I maybe hated is a little bit strong word, but he has come out publicly. He has talked about how that makeup that he had to wear for the Grinch and the fursuit and everything was torturous. I mean, there's a great bit that he did on the Graham Norton show a couple of years ago where he talked about how they had to bring in like Navy SEAL trainers to teach him how to deal with torture. He was smoking cigarettes a lot. He was just having a miserable time on set.
Literally, the makeup was like being buried alive every day.
How long did it take?
The first day was 8.5 hours. And I went back to my trailer and put my leg through the wall. And I told Ron Howard I couldn't do the movie.
And that was 20 years ago, right? That was a younger Jim Carrey at that time. He is now 20 years older. I cannot imagine that Jim Carrey would want to do that again. That Jim Carrey at the age that he is at right now would want to get back under that makeup where he himself said it felt like he was being buried alive for 8 hours a day. I doubt at this age that he is at, he would want to do that again. And the biggest reason why I do not buy this story whatsoever is because of this. The Grinch came out in 2000, right? And it was a pretty good hit. It became a Christmas classic. I watch it every Christmas. Then you move on to 2003, and they did the live action The Cat in the Hat. And The Cat in the Hat, starring Mike Myers, was abysmal. I mean, I have nostalgia for it. I watched it a lot as a kid. But when it came out, critics hated it. A lot of people hated it. My Nana and Papa, who took me to see it when I was a kid, they've admitted that it's one of the worst movies that they've ever had to sit through with us kids. So they hated it a lot. It did not go over well. And the person it did not go over well the most with was Dr. Seuss and his wife, Audrey. Now, when Dr. Seuss passed away, his estate went to Audrey, his wife. And his wife, well, let's hear her words. Since Audrey, this is after Dr. Seuss's passing, since then, Audrey has become the president and CEO of Dr. Seuss Enterprises, and she works hard every day to ensure that no one takes advantage of her husband's iconic work. She has also given her blessings for the first live-action movie. However, after the release of The Cat in the Hat, she wasn't impressed with the film overall. She also did not approve of Mike Myers' role as the cat. Audrey decided to never allow any further live-action adaptations of Dr. Seuss's works. This is the reason why the planned sequel of The Cat in the Hat never came to fruition. There have since been animated movies based on Dr. Seuss's, such as The Lorax, but you will probably never see a live-action version for a long time. So, here's the thing. I did a little bit snooping. I did a little bit of looking around the internet, and Audrey has passed away. She passed away in 2018. Now, I could not find anything that talked about the new estate, the new people that own Seuss Enterprises, and whether or not they have taken this ban away, whether or not they are now allowing studios to make live-action versions of Dr. Seuss movies, which I imagine if they did, if they were like, hey, Audrey's gone, we're the new people that are in charge, and we say go for it. We say yes, make live action Dr. Seuss. I feel like we would have heard something by now. I feel like they would have put something out by now. I feel like that's just the greed of Hollywood. I feel like they would have gotten on that by now. So I don't buy this story 1 ounce. I do not think that Jim Carrey is coming back as the Grinch. I do not think there's going to be a Grinch 2. What do you even do with the Grinch 2? Like, what do you do? There's no other story for the Grinch. There's no Dr. Seuss, the Grinch 2. Oh no, there's Thanksgiving 2. Like, like there's nothing about that. Like, he's not gonna steal Thanksgiving. He's not gonna steal Hanukkah or whatever he wants to steal next. There's no Grinch 2. I'm just gonna say it right here. I do not think for a second that there is a Grinch 2.